There are two court markings used in Gateball, one to denote the inner field, one to denote the outer field. The inner field court marking must be of a colour that is easily distinguishable and contrastable from the playing surface. The one of the outer field can be similarly of a distinguishing colour which contrasts easily from the court surface, but doesn't have to be made of the same material or even be the same colour as the inner field marking. The most important line in Gateball, or court marking for that matter, is the inner field line. Any ball or any part of any ball that is touching this line is considered in play. Thus, we must create a buffer between the inner field and the outer field to make sure that balls are not disturbed accidentally by players and to ensure that there is no disruption to the game over time. This is why we have a zone called the outer field. The outer field can be anywhere from 50 centimetres, seen in this case, up to 1 metre, used in other circumstances. This is denoted by the outer field line. Players are not permitted to cross this outer field line whilst playing the game unless they are called by the chief referee during the playing order sequence. It is important to remember that even captains and managers are not permitted to enter this area, and only referees are allowed to use this area at will to perform their refereeing actions. The start area, in general, is a place from which all balls are played at the beginning of the game. It's one of the most important areas on a Gateball court, and most likely the most frequent place balls are being hit from, especially during the beginning of the game. After all balls must be played from this area at the start of the game. The start area is defined as a 2-metre box, created 2 metres across, and anywhere from 50 centimetres to 1 metre in depth. This area is clearly marked by a 2-metre section of the inner court. Likewise, there are 2 lines that run parallel, which indicate the sides of the start area. The outer field line then caps off the end of this box and creates the zone known as the start area. Free zone is the area in which players stand while they're not playing the game. It is defined by anywhere outside of the outside line, and it extends indefinitely, or in most cases, practically speaking, anywhere that is within the immediate vicinity of the court. It's where teams stand while they're not playing the game, or while they're waiting to be called by the chief referee to have their turn. The waiting areas are set inside the free zone, and they're places where teams have the opportunity to sit down, or where the manager of a team might be sitting or giving directions to his team captain. It is important to understand the free zone, as it is not defined by an absolute marking. Thus, it is important to make sure that there is ample room in the free zone so that teams may speak to each other, form strategies, and inform their captains of possible plays while playing the game. There are 2 waiting areas set out in the free zone, one by the second corner and one by the fourth corner in most cases. These waiting areas are areas in which players of a team are permitted to sit down, and often it's where a team manager will be sitting to give directions to their captain should it be necessary. They are areas in which the team can sit, as otherwise there is no place reserved for team members to sit on, and if they require a rest while their turn is not being used, they are permitted to use this area. It's important to note that spectators are not permitted to sit in the waiting areas, as they are reserved only for team members. Rules relating to uniforms are some of the most important throughout Gateball. It's important to wear the same uniform, as referees and spectators are easily able to identify who is who in relation to which team they play for. The uniform rules might seem strict, but please note that they're only for tournament settings. When we play in Australia in casual games, such as on weekends, we do not abide by these rules, as they are often impractical in many cases. Uniform rules follow some incredibly basic guidelines. The most basic guidelines and structures of the rules are that all members of the team must be wearing identical clothing, except for eyewear, such as sunglasses. That means that, should I wish to wear sunglasses but another member of my team doesn't, we're permitted to do that. Likewise, shoes. Shoes are exempt from this rule. As shoes play an integral part of the game, they are very specific to each player. Thus, you do not have to wear the same coloured shoes or type of shoes as your fellow teammates. An important note regarding shoes. It is impractical to wear open-toed shoes, and in many cases incredibly dangerous, as you often have to swing the stick near the foot. This can lead to injury quite easily. Thus, open-toed shoes are not an acceptable form of footwear. Likewise, Heeled shoes are not permitted on the court, as they can easily damage the turf, clay, or gravel, depending on what you're playing on. The most important part of the rules in relation to uniforms is that we must be wearing identical clothing to our teammates. All 5 members of the team, other than the manager, must be wearing the same coloured shirt and the same coloured pants or shorts. It's important to note that should one member of the team be wearing a shirt with large prints or logos on it, it is not permissible that other members of the team only be wearing merely the same coloured shirt. They must be identical in nature. Likewise, in relation to pants or shorts, they must not have large distinguishing logos on them unless all members of your team are wearing the exact same large distinguishing logoed shirts or shorts. The next important fact to mention with this is the most important part of the uniform, the number bib. A number bib is the most important part of a Gateball player's uniform. It distinguishes which number they're playing. In this case, you can see I'm wearing the number 8 bib. That means I'm number 8 in the playing order. This is the most essential part of the Gateball player's uniform and allows the referee to easily see where the next ball in the playing order is. The last thing to mention is in relation to headwear. If one member of the team is wearing a hat, all members of the team must be wearing a hat. It is important to remember this, as if one member of the team wishes to wear the hat, but all the other members don't, then that player must ensure that they remove that hat prior to inspection at the beginning of the game. The stick is the most important piece of equipment a Gateball player uses to play the game. It essentially looks like a hammer, but is called a stick in this game. It is an instrument which is T-shape in nature. It has 2 parallel faces, and in many cases has a shaft which is telescopic so that you can adjust it exactly to the right specifications as you require. The stick is used to stroke balls through gates and to touch other balls. It's the most important piece of equipment you use during the game. There are 10 balls used in Gateball, 5 red and 5 white. The red balls are labelled with odd numbers, the numbers 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9. Similarly, the white balls are labelled with even numbers, the numbers 2, 4, 6, 8 and 10. These 10 balls are used to play the game, and it's easy to tell who is playing on which team, based on which colour ball they're playing. One team plays the red balls, or the odd numbers, and one team plays the white balls, or the even numbers. There are 3 gates in Gateball. Gate 1, which is directly in front of the start area. Gate 2, which is near line number 2. And Gate 3, which is near line number 4. These 3 gates are used to play the game and are where much of the interactions of the balls and players occur. The time score, or more commonly referred to as a wrist timer, is a device used by Gateball players to see which balls have gone through which gates. To turn on the timer, we click this green button here, which turns on the display. When the referee calls play ball, we all click this yellow button at the same time, and we can see that the display here starts counting down from 30 minutes. The amount of time in the game. You can also see that each team's numbers are separated on the display. Every time a ball goes through the next gate in order, we click the button. The number increases by 1 or 2 when it hits the goal pole, and the total team score is represented on the far right. So, should ball number 1 pass through gate number 2, we click ball number 1's button again, and we can see that the number increased to 2, and the total team score increased to 2. The scoreboard is used by the scoreboard attendant and is set within the free zone for all players and spectators to see. It indicates the actual score of the game, and it's important should a wrist timer malfunction and the players are not able to distinguish which balls have gone through which gates. It acts as an absolute measure in this sense. The scoreboard attendant uses the scoreboard by moving dots across a track. In this case, ball 1's track, indicating that it has gone through gate 2, thus scoring 2 points for the red team. We can see that there are indications for gate 1, gate 2, gate 3, and the goal pole.